Hi, I'm here in the Racing Post offices talking to Mark Langdon, the man, of course, the architect behind the big kick-off pull-out, which comes out every year, and really the football punters like myself and you guys absolutely adore it every August. Mark, the day after it's coming out, you must be exhausted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm not really as focused maybe on the start of the season as I should be. I'm sort of almost wishing for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
off now. But I think all the hard work generally is worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
we get a lot of positivity,
Yeah.
a lot of feedback that's always very
Yeah.
welcome, and every year we try to make it a little bit different, a little bit better, and thankfully the changes seem to have gone down quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you notice a spike in the sales and stuff like that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, in circulation terms, Racing Post, Cheltenham, and Grand National
Yes, of
Days
course,
are like absurd. But I mean, apart from that, really, this is one of the big
Wow,
days.
that's
It's one
brilliant,
of
man.
where non-racing people actually
Yeah.
buy it, and you hear stories of people having to go to 3, 4, 5 shops to get one. So, it is. It's a big day.
And I feel that shows the evolution of the paper, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, football betting now is just massive, isn't
and it's
it?
huge
I
for
mean,
the newspaper as well.
yeah. I mean, it was it's Goodwood and Galway, and yet
Yeah,
football was sort of
yeah.
sharing front page,
Absolutely,
which
yeah.
may not be to
Yeah.
everybody's taste. Some of the traditionalists, but I think it does sort of just highlight
Yeah.
where the shift, not necessarily from the Racing Post, but just the general shift in public, really,
Definitely.
towards all types of betting, not just horse racing.
Sure. So when does the process start? When do you start thinking about it?
I would say obviously it does depend on if it's a non-World
Yes,
Cup
of
year.
course.
So in this case, I mean, we had a first look at it in sort of around about maybe the middle of June, just what we wanted to do, get a few features in place. But most of the work is done in the 2 weeks because you cannot start writing any of it until everything's settled down. So there'll be the odd plan in place.
Yeah.
What do we want from Mike Holden? What do we want from Nick Goff and people like that? And we asked them to sort of come up with some stuff. But in terms of writing it, creating it, putting it on the website, putting it on the iPad, that's all in about 2 weeks really. So the last few days of that are hell.
And I can imagine. And the guest writers, do they have to submit their copy perhaps a wee bit before you guys?
It depends really. No, I mean I think Nick Goff filed his sort of Tottenham stuff over the weekend, so it was a couple of days before. Mike Holden was a little bit before that because he was mainly focusing on what had happened in seasons gone past. So if you're doing that, then we can get it over earlier. But like I say, I mean most of it all comes together very late. So you have this thing where about 4 days before you think there's no way we're getting this done, and then everybody sort of does long days. Monday night was a very long day for a lot of people, and then it was off stone to the printers at 12 noon on Tuesday because of Goodwood and Galway. So hopefully they can not we can not clash next season. A plea to the racing authorities. So.
BHA, if you're watching, absolutely. So how do you start your research?
That would start earlier. That would start in like the virtually when the season ends in a non-World Cup year. Yeah, exactly. Like sort of so that you've got a general basis of what they did in that season, and then you have to combine that with what they've done signings wise. And a lot of it's guesswork. You're trying to work out which teams have still got a lot of business to do. Like somebody like Watford, for instance, I've got them doing okay. If you look at their squad now, you'd probably have them in and around the bottom three. I think a lot of people would anyway. But they usually sign players, so I'm pretty sure that they will. And the squad that they've got now won't be the squad they've got in a couple of weeks. You have to, you have to sort of guess that a little bit.
Yeah. So they were the hardest team to solve.
And Arsenal, I think, as well. The Alexis situation makes. I mean, I've gone for them to finish sixth, but if they've got Alexis, Lacazette, and Ozil as their front three, bringing another midfielder, all of a sudden, maybe I've got them in the wrong position. Tottenham, I've got absolutely no idea what's going to happen at Wembley, and I don't think anybody has really. The controversial one was Liverpool. I've got them finishing second. I think they were really good last season, and I just think that the AFCON just ruined them, and with Mane and Matip wasn't allowed to play. So no AFCON. Salah's probably the signing of the summer for me. I think they'll go well.
Yeah, and what was the last thing you wrote? Was it Monday night? Was it late Monday night?
The last thing I wrote was the player specials. So that was Pogba and De Bruyne to win the Player of the Year. De Bruyne was always on my list to do. Pogba, when they got Matic, I thought the reason they bought Matic is to get the best out of Pogba, and if United are to go well and win the title, if they're to justify 7-2, or whatever it is, Pogba's going to have to play well. He's going to have to be, an absolute superstar, and he's around about 14th for the Player of the Year.
Wow. And do you work from home, like in the lead?
I do in the lead up to it. Yeah. 2 weeks of absolute solid at home, and then tapping out all the match bets and all the bookmakers specials as well. I'm sure the likes of Martin Samuel won't be doing that at the Mail, but everybody gets their hands dirty at the Racing Post.
Absolutely. And when it was finished and done, did you go out for a beer? Did you
I didn't. The emotion was we had to do our postcast, and then I had to leg it in the car and pick up my kids from my sisters who, because I do childcare on a Tuesday, and I couldn't obviously unless I brought them in here. But I needed to be in here, and so I legged it there, took them to McDonald's, had a strawberry milkshake, and then a few beers later on that night.
Family man, the great man. And finally, your Twitter must have exploded yesterday. Must be nice to get so much nice feedback.
It is, yeah. I mean, it certainly makes a change, and it's better. Usually, if you see you've got 65 notifications, it normally means you've done something terrible. So yeah, that's nice. I think there was one person said, "You hate Burnley." I don't hate Burnley. I can assure you. Never been to Burnley. Never want to go to Burnley either, to be honest. But that's not. I just I've been to Blackburn, didn't like that, so I'm assuming Burnley's the same. So no. Honestly, it's all to do with the fact that I think they sold Michael Keane. They haven't got any goals. Not that many goals in their team, and I think it'll be a struggle.
Absolutely. And finally, if I can remember what I was going to ask, World Cup next year. You're doing a book, is that right?
Oh yeah. The book. Somebody asked me about the book yesterday, which went down like a balloon. Actually, yeah, the book will be out around about April time. Start writing that soon, actually, on my days off.
Excellent. Well done in getting the pull out.
Thanks,
Well done. Thanks, Mark.